Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of Veteran Strong Network, the podcast that will be dedicated to empowering and supporting veterans like never before. I'm Fernando Cerezo, and I'm joined with Dr. V. And we are here today excited to share a lot of great things with everyone. And one key thing we want to do is be veteran strong. So before I kick off and introduce myself any further, I'd like for the founder, the visionary of this whole program, the leader, Dr. V, please, if you can, you got it from here.
All right. Thanks, Fern. Yeah, we are both so excited to be here for this first episode. I'm gonna give you, as Fern said, my name's Dr. Dina Varela. Gonna give you a quick background slash intro to who I am. Um, so I was in the military in the Navy actually for 22 years. Went in at about 17 years old, going on 18, and I spent most of my young and mid adulthood life in the military. It's pretty much, all I knew because I went in so young. Rose through the ranks and spent 22 years there. Made Master Chief in 17, and yes, I'm very proud of the fact that I did that. I was kind of married to the military. So military was my life. In 2010-ish or so, while I was on the Reagan and trying to negotiate orders, I was offered overseas orders, and there was no way I was going overseas again. Been there many times before. However, I just gotten off, or I was still on sea duty actually, on the Reagan, and I wasn't doing it again. I wasn't going overseas. So at that point, I made the decision to retire at 22 years. Um, and I knew, though, as I was getting ready to retire, that I still wanted to be around the military. I still wanted to be around that culture. I still wanted to help military and veterans. And so I decided that I was going to go to doctor school, and that's what I did. It took about 6 years or so, and going through school, and then finally becoming a clinical psychologist so that I was able to go ahead and work in a VA around, a lot of veterans. And during that time, while I was going to school, I had to do 5 years of internships and residencies. So I was able to work in various settings. I worked in an active duty military hospital, and then went on to work in a VA hospital. And while I was at the VA, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of Vietnam veterans, and I absolutely loved it. Um, but while I was there, I also noticed and did not like how veterans were being treated. And I also wasn't able to help them beyond the scope of what I was hired to do there, and that was therapy and assessments, right? So I just couldn't go on seeing what was happening, and I made the decision to leave the VA and open my own practice in Virginia. Um, but I wanted to have a further reach because as a psychologist, you are licensed in one state to practice in one state. Um, and so I knew that I wanted a further reach with vets, and I decided to open a coaching and consulting business, which would be online, so I'd have that further reach across all the states. It was at that point when I made that decision, I had asked Fern to join me since we'd both been stationed together before, and on the Reagan, as a matter of fact. And I knew his work ethic, and I knew the love he had for supporting and helping military members, veterans, and just, the community in general. And that's how we got to this point. So I'm very, very excited to be here. I'm very excited I'm here with Fern, and I'm going to turn it over to Fern for his story.
Dr. V, thank you. What an extraordinary career you've had. Yeah, making Master Chief in the Navy, if people that never served in the Navy will never understand, and those who have definitely will understand, it is not a easy mountain to climb and make to the peak, and you've done it. And not only you've done that, but you've gone on to continue to help our veteran community, our service members, and become a psychologist, a doctor in psychology. So thank you for your commitment to serve. Definitely why we it's just the right thing to do to create this program that that you have a vision for, that I've jumped on board, Veteran Strong. And it couldn't be any better person to found it than someone that served, not only served with honor, made it to the peak, retired, and continue to provide services for those who are ready to come out, and for those that served, because you did your first tours with serving active duty members when you were a doctor. So my hats off, and much appreciate you reaching out. It's an honor, and I'm humbled by that. Little bit about myself. Spent 28 years in the Navy. Came in enlisted, made it up to the rank of chief before I commissioned under enlisted to officer commissioning program, and ultimately retiring as a lieutenant commander as recent as last year, January, which I just hit a year. It's amazing. It's unbelievable how time flies. And fortunately for me, that it did happen, because there's always a reason for everything, and we wouldn't be here speaking if I was still on active duty, because I may not have the time. So there's a reason for the treason, like we like to say. So many thanks, and I look forward to our mission. I come from if you can hear through my accent, Northeast. I grew up in New Jersey, New York City area, mainly my teen years in Jersey. Did a stint in New York City, and then I joined the Navy. Here I am in Hawaii, the Aloha State, as you can tell by the attire. So, again, I'm so excited to join you on this mission. I call it a mission because that's what it is, and I'll treat it just as such, which is important, and with a clear sight and scope of what we want to get to. So, many thanks to you. I look forward to all the things to come. And again, my name is Fern, Fernando Cerezo, call sign Fern. And yeah, thank you. Appreciate you, and look forward to our next episode, which may be a little bit more extensive, and we can cover some of those important topics that I know that our audience is looking forward to. And if you could talk of a few that we have lined up, that would be great. Just so I won't get them out of order, but I'm excited, and I'm sure you are too. So, Dr. B, thank you again. I'll turn it back over.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that great intro. And 28 years, that's just totally amazing. Not only the fact that you did 28 years, but I also often think back, like, how fast that time went by, right? And in your case, we're talking about what you did with that time. You look to where you made that, so that's amazing. Great job. So the podcast, let's kind of talk about the podcast real quick, because that's what this is about. Yes, we mentioned that we have the business on the coaching and consulting, which is just part of this whole big picture, right? The overall picture. But this podcast, we're going to focus on providing free information to veterans out there, and active duty military that are getting ready to retire too, right? So, what are we going to do? What does the podcast look like? Well, we'll do it weekly. We'll have the weekly podcast. We'll kind of hop on, do a little intro for anybody who comes on new. It'll be real short and sweet. After the intro, we'll kind of touch on a week in history, whatever may be going on during that week of the recording. And then we'll go over any sort of highlights, high points of VA news. Okay. Especially if it's going to be something that's going to benefit you, we're definitely going to cover it for that week. But we're not going to sit there and read all of VA news. That's boring. We're not doing that. Just give you what you need that's important, right? From there, there'll be topics that we'll review and go over information. For example, Fern will do some a topic covering disability. And that may be what a CMP looks like, what you need to do to go through a CMP, what a medical board looks like. So you get a lot of information in regard to disability, medical disability, so on. From that, we'll move into a topic that I'll cover, which will be something on psychology. That'll be beneficial for you, whether that be how to manage anxiety, how to manage anger, what anger looks like. So I think maybe you're kind of getting the hint on what we'll be covering. And of course, we're going to open that up. You guys can leave us comments, so that if there's a specific topic you want us to touch on, by all means, we want to hear about it, because that's what this is for. This is to provide support from one veteran, or in this case, 2 veterans, to all veterans, right? So that's what we're here for. All right, so I think Fern touched on it initially and said that we wanted to do the brief intro, and that's what we're doing. You kind of got a lowdown on what we'll be putting out each week, and we're just so excited to be here, really excited. Fern, I'm gonna let you take it away with saying goodbye and adding anything else that you feel you need to or want to add.
Oh no, thanks. I'm excited. It sounds like, me and you've had many discussion and planning. We coordinate a lot of planning to get this started, and I'm so excited to get it running. For all you out there that are watching us today, thank you for tuning in. You can find us on Facebook, on Veteran Strong Network, Coaching Consulting. Please join the page if you haven't done so yet. We will also put out all our social media links below on this, attached to this video when we post it. But here, bottom line, for everyone that's watching out there, Dr. V's put her heart out and spent much time getting this together. I'm on board with her. It's a win-win for all of us, and it comes down to this: let's be veteran strong. Okay. So with that being said, thank you everyone for tuning in. Much love, peace, and happiness, and we'll catch you on our next episode, which you don't want to miss out on. Trust me.
All right, bye everybody.